Excuse me, the time is 10:48 p.m. and it is September 30th. Welcome everyone to another update from Great Lakes Weather. And boy, has it been a while since we've done a video. The weather's just been so quiet over the area over the past several days, which has been kind of nice. Well, particularly in this area. Down to the south, they had the situation with Hurricane Ian, which was a rather devastating hurricane, one of the most devastating hurricanes. I think it was in the top 5 for one of the most damaging landfalls in the United States since 2017. I believe it's in the top 5. So there's quite a few major hurricanes have gone through since 2017. So it was a pretty strong hurricane. But what we're talking about today is back in the Great Lakes. We're talking about the potential for some snow. Yeah, we're starting to see snow in the forecast, particularly for parts of the Upper Peninsula. According to what some of the models are saying, we could see some snowfall. Not particularly certain how much snowfall, but lake effect snow is starting to appear on some of the weather models. And we're going to take a look at the models, how they disagree with each other, and see if you are going to see your first snow. Many of you have already saw a freeze, especially if you are in the northern lower peninsula and the upper peninsula of Michigan. You have seen that, and some of you, even in parts of northern Indiana, northern Ohio, will start to see some frost later on next week as well. So we're going to get into that at the current moment. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure to stay updated because winter is coming. And I'm going to be here providing the latest winter information that I possibly can for our area. All right, let's do this and get fired away with what is going on. First of all, just a recap of Hurricane Ian as it moved through. The pressure was extremely low on its approach. This is a run of a previous model that showed Hurricane Ian moving through the general area of Florida, landfall as a major Category 4 hurricane. Just shy of Category 5 with wind gusts of 155 miles per hour. Wind speeds of 155 miles per hour, and it did some pretty significant damage. I did see some videos of some significant storm surge across parts of Florida. It really crossed over Florida, went back out to the ocean, and what we have seen with the newer models is that it updated and made landfall once again in South Carolina as once again, a Category 1 hurricane. So this thing has just been progressing and continuing to progress as it moves across the southeastern United States. And let's get a look at where it is at right now according to the current radar updates. And it looks like it has already moved quickly north from its landfall location in South Carolina, and it is still leaving behind some wind damage, it looks like, across some of it. It is now downgraded to a post-tropical cyclone, but it is still lifting north. There has been some tornadoes on the North Carolina shoreline as it moved off to the north, but the threat from this is quickly starting to subside now that it has made a firm landfall across parts of the eastern United States. So Hurricane Ian's finally coming to an end, thank goodness, because it has done a lot of damage across parts of central Florida. Alright, it is not going to really affect our area in any way, shape, or form. It's going to really drift back out to the east and back into the ocean. So it's not really much of a concern for us. What really is a concern for us is what could potentially be coming up with the upcoming air mass change. Alright, so currently over the past few days we've kind of had this kind of scenario kind of settling over the region. You have Hurricane Ian, the air mass where the cooler air is lifted up in the upper levels of the atmosphere associated with Hurricane Ian pushing off to the north and beginning to weaken and dissipate as it moves back off to the east. You kind of see a pretty deep ridge starts to develop across parts of the Canada areas. That's going to change pretty quickly, and you're going to see that quite a bit in this little model run here. But shifting it off forward farther east, you got that warmer in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Temperatures are going to rise back up into the 70s probably for Wednesday of this week, which will be quite pleasant for a while, maybe even get in close to the mid and upper 70s farther south in parts of Virginia, North Carolina, those particular regions. And then here's what we're looking at for potentially Wednesday night to Thursday, we're going to have this trough start to dig in, and it is going to bring with it an associated cold front that could pack some showers, maybe a rumble of thunder here and there, but that's going to quickly deepen. That trough is going to deepen quite a bit, and it's going to settle over parts of the Upper Peninsula, northern Michigan, and then Indiana and Ohio will also see some of those cooler temperatures as well. So this cool air in the upper levels of the atmosphere is going to sink down into the overnight hours, and it's also going to bring the potential for lake effect snow across parts of the Upper Peninsula. According to some of the models, again, it could just end up being lake effect rain. We really have to be careful in forecasting snow this early, because depending on what the temperatures are at the surface is going to have a heavy role in if snow does develop across parts of the UP and maybe even parts of northern lower peninsula. So we're going to take a look at the models as to what they're saying, but it looks like this trough is really just going to sit over the northeastern continental United States through Friday, so it's going to get quite cold. High temperatures for much of, at least even parts of lower Michigan too, in northern Indiana and northern Ohio, will get just up to about 50, and then temperatures overnight could drop to around freezing. So it is going to be cold next week, and it's going to bring an early freeze a little bit earlier than normal. Usually around in lower Michigan you get a freeze at about mid-October. It's going to be early October, it looks like, according to what the models are showing. So this trough is pretty deep, pretty powerful. If we get a sounding across the New England states, you can really see temperatures dropping into the 30s. The dendritic growth zone's really starting to show, but again, temperatures at the surface are above 32 degrees, which means it's not really going to fall as snow, and it's going to be just normal rain. So despite the fact this deep trough is going to sit, then we could see, I want to pay attention to this general area here and see if there's going to be any changes to the weather coming later on across the Great Lakes region, which it does look like that ridge does tend to build, and a deep ridge builds off to the west in western Canada with temperatures in the mid 50s, close to 60. So a lot of stuff to be paying attention to, especially with these different setups that are occurring, but we'll be paying attention closely to these events as they begin to unfold. So that's the current scenario. This trough looks like it could potentially begin to move in. Let's actually take a look at the models, the precipitation models, and see what could potentially occur. So here we have the surface temperatures for parts of the Great Lakes region. This is the current time, well, actually in the afternoon today, so Friday. Overnight hours we dropped into the 40s, and currently right now it is 44.7 degrees outside of my house, so it really fits with the setup taking place in lower Michigan. Tomorrow it's going to rise back into around close to 70, nice weather, and really that's going to get, the consistency is going to stay in that way, except it's going to be colder Sunday night with temperatures dropping down to the upper 30s. It doesn't really look like a good scenario for frost in any particular location, and areas that could see frost are already have already ended the growing season, so it's not really that big of a deal. Continuing, we're looking at those days of 60s down to 40s overnight through Wednesday. Then we get into Thursday, and you can see that cold front starting to shift the temperatures into Thursday, and then you can see that freezing temperature really starts to dip down south in parts of Wisconsin. You're getting as low as 25 degrees across parts of that region, and then even freezing temperatures as far south as Ohio, just a little bit north of Dayton, parts of Lima, Ohio, Van Wert, could be seeing an end to the growing season on October 7th or October 6th, overnight on October 6th. So Thursday night really is going to end the growing season, likely for much of the Great Lakes region, and then Friday night even is getting as far south as southern Ohio, southern Indiana. And it looks like the growing season is going to be coming to an end October 7th into October 8th for pretty much the entirety of the Great Lakes region. So, which is a little bit earlier than normal, but it is consistent with it's not terribly out of the ordinary to see it around this time. So then we start to see another warm back up, but still temperatures getting down into the 30s overnight now, and then gradual warming trend continues once again as we get into mid-October, which mid-October is projected to be warmer than average, October entirely. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some warmer temperatures start to filter in. But some models are showing another cold front beginning to dip in around the 16th and 17th, and even colder temperatures starting to take over. So that's a long-range model. We don't want to get into that just yet, but let's look at, see that blue? That's what nobody wants to see, but it is making its way. So let's backtrack and watch that low pressure system move in. Really not too much weather activity going on until we get to around Thursday. Going to be some pretty pleasant weather over the next few days. Get some chances to enjoy that. And then the rain moves into the Upper Peninsula around Wednesday afternoon. And then overnight Thursday, that cold front really starts to take over. And you can see showers and thunderstorms, even a few thunderstorms begin to develop across parts of the Great Lakes region. Not really high tops, so it doesn't really look like these could pack really that much, if anything. In fact, temperatures are at 51 degrees, so not anything that pops up will have no severe potential with it. But the cold front will welcome in much warmer, much cooler air behind it, and you can see on the back side behind it, you can see that blue starting to filter into the Upper Peninsula. Dendritic growth zone appears. You've got the dew points and temperatures meeting right next to each other within that dendritic growth zone, but it doesn't really look favorable, like a favorable scenario for any type of lake effect. Well, I would wait to say something about that, but it does show the dew point and temperature right next to each other, which means there could be some potential moisture developing from this particular scenario. But we're gonna have to wait to be sure about how this is going to unfold. It does show that blue setup, so that's snowfall there, but the temperatures do appear to be above freezing, so around 37 degrees. So it could show maybe some more rainfall potential, or at least any snow that falls will likely melt quickly, as the ground surface is the air temperature at the surface is going to be 37, and the ground temperature is still going to be relatively warm. So it's not really going to stick, but it could be the first few flakes of the season for you guys in that area. And if you get down to the Lower Peninsula, it does really show just rainfall potential, and not even a good chance of that, except you do have saturated air below 700 millibars, so that means maybe some lake effect rain showers, lake effect snow showers as you get up more towards Boyne Falls. Again, it's not gonna be enough to open up the ski slopes, obviously, but it does show some snowfall potential, some lake effect snow. You have that dendritic growth zone that's kind of showing up, but it is really low in the atmosphere, which again, it could occur, but we'll see how that goes on. But anyways, snowfall potential does appear for the Great Lakes region, the northern parts of the Great Lakes region, Thursday afternoon, Thursday night into Friday. So that's going to be what we want to watch, and maybe that could be the first snow of the season for some people. It's going to be early in the season, of course, but it will change. These models will likely change later on, but it's good to be aware of. So let's wrap it up. Do I have anything else I want to show? Oh yeah, Ecmwf model. Let's check for its agreement. So we'll do that real quick. So you have the Upper Peninsula. It's showing the rainfall inconsistent with the model runs you had previously. So we will fast forward this a little bit. It does actually show a rain-snow mix across parts of the Great Lakes region, across the Upper Peninsula. But again, the Ecmwf model does not project a very good potential for that type of development, except the dew points are sub-freezing. So it does not look like a favorable situation for snow, though, across the Upper Peninsula, according to this model. So that already gives me some doubts, but it's shown up on this model, so we do want to take a look at it. But snowfall is coming and winter is coming. I'm sure everyone is looking forward to it. So just keep your eyes peeled for that potential. Alright, that's pretty much the entire update for this week. make sure to like if you liked. Make sure to subscribe for future updates regarding weather in the Great Lakes region, particularly the winter storms that will be coming later on this year, because Farmer's Almanac already projected a very cold and very snowy winter across this area. So we will see what goes on, but for now, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you all later.